A lot of people are coming in. It's so great to see everyone. So a very warm welcome to everyone. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes before we officially kick off the event, just to make sure people have the chance to sign in and set up. Hello, Anand. A very warm welcome. There is a chat box out there. Uh, just let us know where you come from, where you are tuning in from, and just say hello. Okay, I guess can we start, Amit, Atharva?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, sure. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Uh, Hello, I'm Prasad Said. I'm a Slack platform community Pune co-chapter leader, along with my colleague Amit. A little bit about myself. So I'm a passionate community builder and a tech evangelist. I enjoy sharing my experiences in tech and lessons learned. So I'm a tech speaker and I present at conferences, meetups, and developer communities around the world. I'm passionate about evangelizing tech, meeting new developers, and helping in solving their problems. So I've been a part of global communities, startups, and upskilling initiatives. And yeah, so Amit, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Amit. I've been a startup community since more than 5 years now. I closely work with founders. Based on their problem statement, we help them to craft the solutions. Within this journey, I worked on many technologies, more of a mobile. I'm a mobile friendly, mobile first developer. Uh, Slack is something that we explored back in 2 years back, and we started taking help, started using Slack for our internal communication. And over the period, I understood that how we can use Slack to solve some daily use cases. And I hope we all are here to learn the same thing. So pretty excited for today's session. Over to you, Prasad.
Yeah, so that's great. I'll just quickly introduce to people who don't know what Slack is. So basically, Slack is one of the most popular collaboration tools with users across the world. It helps streamline communications by organizing it into channels, and channels can be anything from projects to teams, clients, and it really helps keep all the related messages, tools, and the files organized in the relevant place. So it has a drag and drop features for files, images, videos, and PDFs to collaborate with your team and to get feedback. So from Fortune 100 companies to corner markets, millions of people around the world use Slack to connect their teams, unify their systems, and to drive their business forward. A little bit about Slack platform community Pune. So Slack platform community in Pune is a part of a global Slack platform community. In Pune, we are a community of people with different backgrounds with the goal of building the future of work. So our mission is to make people's working life easier, more pleasant, and more productive. So today we have an amazing speaker with us, Atharva. He's a senior software engineer at Slack, and today he's going to tell us about how we can build Slack apps, and he's also going to show us a wonderful demo which will help us to get started with building Slack apps. So a very warm welcome, Atharva, and over to you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hey Prasad, thanks for the introduction. I'm Atharva, engineering at Slack platform. I'm a backend developer. Usually, my daily routine involves writing features for Slack platform, sometimes fixing bugs, talking to customers, and I also love talking to developers of the Slack platform. You are actively building apps, and as part of that, I try to participate in such sessions. So I'm really excited to be here. This session is going to be a live coding session, and I'm doing that for the first time, so fingers crossed. Okay, so now let's, and I don't have any slides, so it's going to be purely coding exercise for next 45 minutes probably. So let me share my screen first, and just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Share. Prasad, can you see it? Cool. So let's start. So as I said, I don't have any slides, but I do have a GitHub page. And I'm going to share this repo with you after the session. And it has a code sample and some information about how to build a Slack app. So let's get started. So what we are going to build today, we are going to build a COVID tracker app. It's a simple app. I'll show you what it does shortly. So the prerequisites is you need to be familiar with Slack and Slack apps, because otherwise this session it's kind of difficult to understand. Basic knowledge of JavaScript or Node, but it's not important. The code is not very fancy, so even if you are a developer and you develop in any programming language, that's fine. The tools and technologies which we are going to use is Node and NPM. We have SDKs for different programming languages. So since I'm using JavaScript, I will use Slack SDK for JavaScript. It's also known as Bolt JS. Then sometimes people think that building a Slack app is just like building a text-based chatbot, but that's not true. We have framework for building interactive applications which contains nice UIs, right? And for that we have something called Blockit. So that's a UI framework for building interactive apps. And we also have a tool called Blockit Builder, and it's my favorite. It's used for UI prototyping, and I'm going to use this in this session. Now, there are two parts of building Slack app. One is the app configuration, which is done in Slack api.slack.com, right? And the other part is your code. Now, your code can be hosted anywhere, on cloud or on premise. Right now, I'm hosting my code on my local laptop, and I want to make it my laptop's IP address public, so that Slack can reach my local server. So for that, I'm going to use a tool called ngrok, and it's it's recommended for building Slack apps. So it creates a public URL and tunnels your request to your local development environment. Okay, I'm also going to use COVID public API. It's exposed by Postman, and it's very nice. You can explore it. Okay, so the two features I'm going to build today is slash command and app home. I'm assuming you're already familiar with what is slash command and app home. If not, I'm going to show an example of a Google Calendar app. So I'm in my Slack workspace. This is a Google Calendar app, and this is the home page of the app. This is what is called app home. It for Google Calendar, it's showing me today's schedule is empty. From here, I can create an event, right? So it opens up a model. Now you see that building a Slack app is not just building a text-based chatbot, right? You can build all these interactive elements in your app. Now, so this was app home. Then let me show you how slash command works. For example, Google Calendar, we have a slash command called gcal. So we say gcal today is going to give me my today's schedule. So this is a simple example of Google Calendar. I last time I got a question when I was talking to the developers. People asked me that, hey, this is Google app. Google would have used some secret sauce or probably have some private APIs which are not exposed to other people. That's not true. So this app anybody can build with the same features, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, enough of talk, let's start coding. Okay, the first step, so in order to implement these features, there are two parts. I will do something in Slack api.slack.com, that is app configuration, and then I will do something in my VS Code, which is a node project. Okay, so let's start by creating a Slack app. If you have any questions, if you're not able to hear me, if you want me to slow down a little bit, please put it in the chat and Prasad or Amit can just speak out. Okay, cool. So let's start with creating a Slack app. So for that, you have to go to api.slack.com/apps. And I've already created an app for just to try it, but I will start creating a new one. I'm going to call it as a COVID tracker 31 because it's 31st August. And you have to choose a workspace. Now, just be careful while choosing your workspace because it's you are developing an app, so it's better if you create your own workspace. You can create as many workspace in Slack as possible, and all this will be free of cost, right? So for development, this is the free workspace is good enough. So I have created my own workspace, and I'm going to give a name. I say create app. Okay, so the first step after creating an app, you get some basic information about app, like app ID, date of creation, client secret, typical OAuth related parameters, and tokens, and some display information. You can probably add your icon, etc. Change the background color. I'm not going to do that. The most important part is once you create the first app, once you create the app for the first time, is permission. So a Slack app can behave as if it's a user in a Slack workspace. So it can send messages, it can receive messages, it can send reactions, upload files, etc. But it cannot do on its own unless you give the explicit permissions. And we follow something called granular permissions model, where every action which app can do in your workspace requires permission. Imagine when you install an app on Android platform, it asks, can this app send a message? Can this app make a call, right? Similarly, we have permissions model in Slack. So first you have to give some permissions. So let's start by doing that. So I click on OAuth and permissions, and I need to go to scopes. So I will add some OAuth scope here. For this, the only scope we need is write. So chat.write, so that we should be able to send a message. Our bot should be able to send a message, and then chat.write .public. Oops. Chat. Yep, chat public, so it can send messages in public channel without any permission. Okay, or so this is a description of the scope: send messages to channels which this app is not member of. Okay, once you add scopes, now it's time to install this app to your development workspace. So it's going to ask you for permission, say allow. So now as soon as this is done, I should be able to see the app in my Slack workspace. So if I go here, I search for this, so it's 31, so it's there. Cool. So your app is installed in your workspace, but it doesn't do anything because we have not added any features in this app. So the first feature which we are going to implement is called / command, right? So let's start doing that. But before that, we'll have to set up our Bolt project. And Bolt project, since I'm using Bolt for JavaScript, it will be a, I'm sorry, it will be a Node.js project. So all you need is to create a Node project and install npm dependencies. Okay, so I'm going to run, as far as code is concerned, I'm going to run this session like a cookery show. So I have some ingredients already baked. So for example, I have Node project already set up. Then you have to create an .env file and have these two parameters, both bot token and signing secret. It's required for authentication, to be precise. And I have package.json where I've installed Slack Bolt and Node Fetch. Node Fetch is an HTTP client. I already have a implementation of COVID client. So basically here I'm calling COVID API and doing some processing and returning a result. So there are two functions. One is called get global summary. So it gives me global summary of all the cases worldwide. And then the next function is get top countries by total cases. So it's as the function says, it's going to give me top countries by confirmed cases. Okay, so I'm not going to explain this code because you can use the APIs and build on your own. So now we have everything in place. Now I'm going to create a file called app.js. You can name it whatever you want. This backup folder, ignore it. I have kept it just in case I need to refer the code. So it's not required. So what we have created app.js. So I'm going to paste some snippet here. So this is the simple init code to initialize a Bolt app, right? So this is I'm just importing the dependencies, and there is a function called app, or it's a class basically. I'm creating a new instance of this class, passing the bot token and signing secret, which is going to be read from this .env file, log level set to debug. And once it is done, I'm going to say app.start and give it some port number. Okay, so let's see if this npm run app, see if it works. Oh, it says not auth. That is because we have not added bot token and signing secret. It's empty, right? So let's go and fetch it. We go to the app. First, we need a bot token. So I'm going to copy this to my clipboard, and then I'll go to basic information. I'm going to go here, say show signing secret. Again, do the copy. Come back to my VS Code. Second, yeah. So I'll copy the signing secret first, and then I'm going to copy the bot token. So bot tokens are always identified by these 4 letters XO, XB. B stands for bot. Right. Now once we have this, let's see what happens now. So it says Bolt app is running. Cool. So this is how this is. You can just imagine how easy to create a simple or set up a simple app using Bolt. So, but again, this app is not doing anything. We have not added any feature here. So let's start by adding. The first thing which we want to add is a / command as per. Yes. So first we have to add a / command. And as I mentioned earlier, to add any feature, first you have to do something in api.slack.com. You have to configure something in the app, and then you have to write the code, right? So let's start by creating a slash command. Are we good so far, Prasad, Amit? Any questions? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Good.
So what we'll do is, okay, so we'll go to the app and go to the slash commands and say create a new command. I'm going to call it as COVID tracker 31 because for practice I implemented a few, so I just want to keep it separate. So now this is important, request URL. So now your api.slack.com should reach your apps URL, right? So that's the URL, and I'm going to show you what I have done here. So I mentioned about ngrok, right? So you can install this ngrok utility and say run this. So now it has exposed this as a public URL. My server localhost 3000 is exposed as this URL. So I will copy this, put it here, and say Slack events. So this is the kind of callback URL. I can give some description, top 5 countries by cases, and then you can give a usage hint saying that this top 5 is the parameter. So this is how you execute the slash command. So once you are happy, you can just say save, and it's going to give this banner saying that you have added a new feature. Let's reinstall this app. So I'm going to reinstall. It's done. So let's see the slash command appears in our workspace. So I'm going to type COVID tool. So it's there, and let's see what happens now. So it says dispatch failed because we have not added anything. This app doesn't do anything. Oh, sorry, the slash command. So let's start by adding the code first. One second. Okay, now we have to have a code to handle this slash command. So for that, again, I have a snippet here. It's very simple. So I'm going to just change the number here to 31, right? So that's what our slash command's name. So app.command listens for any event coming for this slash command, right? That means whenever user types COVID tracker 31 in their workspace, this function gets called, okay? And it has few parameters called command, act, and say. So command gives you the information about the command parameters and other stuff. So for example, command.text will have all the parameters after the slash command. Then there are two functions, act and say. So act is used to acknowledge the response. So basically what happens is that whenever Slack calls your app, you need to respond in 3 seconds. So if you are able to respond in 3 seconds, so there are multiple patterns. Sometimes you can respond in 3 seconds. Sometimes your app needs some background processing, which will take some time. So in that case, what you can do is you can just call act and say that, hey, I'm done sending the acknowledgement, and then you can use the say function and send the response asynchronously. So there are a bunch of patterns here. So I'm just going to follow the simple pattern. Now I have actually added, now this code, what it's going to do is it's going to just return the command.text means. So it will work like a echo. I'm going to do npm run app. So I forgot to save. Okay, so now let's see what happens when you say top 5. Cool, it returns top 5. That means it's just returning whatever I've typed. But that's not so interesting, right? So now let's build some interesting logic here. So now what we are going to do, we are going to do the actual implementation. So first thing, once this command reaches this app, what we want to do is we want to call COVID API to get countries, top 5 countries by confirmed cases, right? So for that, I have already implemented the two functions I showed in client.js, right here. So you get global summary, you get top 5 countries by total cases. So I'm going to use this function here. So I've imported this function. Then I'm going to call this here. Okay. No, not this one. Sorry. This is first we need to call this function. Okay. Now, top 5 countries is it stores the result in an object form. We can just convert this into a string and pass it to this say command, which will give you a boring text output, right? We don't want that. And as I already mentioned that in Slack, you can build interactive apps, nice looking apps, right? So now it's time to show the Blockit and Blockit builder. Okay, so let's go there. So this is Blockit builder. I'm going to clear the blocks. So it's used for UI prototyping. So here you have a bunch of elements, UI elements. For example, you can start with a header element. You can probably add radio button, time picker, checkbox, date picker, etc. Right? So you can design your app here, and once you're satisfied with the design, on the right hand side you get a JSON. So you just copy paste this JSON and put it in this say function, and you are done. So you can send a interactive response. Okay. So I'm going to just clear this, and I will copy paste the blocks which I have for this app. It's just going to like show the top 5 countries. Okay, so looking at this, you can probably guess that I'm not so good at design and front end development. So, but just pardon me, pardon my skills here. So yeah, so this is a header block, and these are the sections with plain text and some emojis, right? So this is the format of the output which we want to give. Now I can just copy. I can say this. I can say copy payload and put it in my code, but it will give the hard-coded values. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to format, we want to generate that block dynamically. So for that, I have created a function called get/command blocks, right? So this is the function, and all it does is I have this block already, right? And I have replaced the hard-coded parameters with the actual country name and the total confirmed cases. So that's it. It's very similar to what I showed in the Blockit builder. So by the way, you can go to the Blockit builder by saying app.slack.com/Blockit builder. It's open to everybody. Okay, so now let's go back to my VS Code. I'll close this. And now I have a function ready, so I'm going to call this function in this. Yep, right. So now we have called COVID API. I got top 5 countries by cases. Then we converted that into the blocks, and now we just want to send these blocks back to Slack. So I'm going to say blocks and response blocks. Instead of just saying a boring text message, I can send the what happened. And that's it. Okay, now let's see if this works. Cool, so app is running. Let's go to the workspace and again type top 5. Fingers crossed. Cool. So yeah, so this is our / command. It's working. Cool. Just take a break of a minute, and if you have any questions, you can type in the chat, or else I can just move to the next part of the demo. So I chose slash command because it was very simple. And there are a lot of advanced cases you can build. There's some really interesting features like modal shortcuts, at home, etc. Oh, so sorry, there is a question: what other languages does Slack API support? So we have official SDKs for 3 languages: JavaScript, Java, and Python. But there are some community SDKs built by Slack community in different programming languages. Yeah, so you can use your favorite language. What's the 3 most amazing apps you have seen for Slack? Okay. um, Interesting question. So okay, most used apps for me, I use Google Calendar regularly because it's really nice. You can check your schedule. um, you can create an event right from Slack. You don't have to go anywhere else. Giphy is my favorite, of course. Um, and Poly, yes, Poly is also a nice app. And I personally worked on building Salesforce app in Slack, so that's my favorite. I have the inclination towards it. So Prasad has asked, is it necessary to use Bolt while building Slack app? No, it's not required. You can start from scratch, but Bolt does a lot of stuff for you. For example, it takes care of OAuth, it takes care of handling the events. You can build an app without Bolt. Okay, so I think let's go to the next phase. The next part is building an app home page. So I showed you how an app home for Google Calendar looks like. It's like an home page or index.html for your app, right? You can build a lot of stuff there, and there are some really good examples of app how to use an app home. Poly is one of the good examples. Google Calendar is a great example, right? So let's start again. Now there are 2 parts to building app home. The one is, sorry, the first part is creating something in Slack, creating some app configuration in api.slack.com, and then putting some code. Now, app home is different from slash command in a sense that uh, it is based on events API. How do I explain event API? So when you type a slash command, you have to give some input, right? So it's kind of a user triggered. It's kind of user trigger event in the workspace, and it has some inputs. But there are other kind of events where when you do something in a workspace, that event is triggered. For example, you are opening an app home page, you are uploading a file, you are sharing a link, or you are reacting with an emoji. Each of these are called as events in Slack, and you can subscribe. Your app can subscribe to these events, listen for these events, and do something. For example, someone shares a link, so you can generate a link preview and send it in a Slack. Other example is someone reacts with some particular emoji, you can do something. So there are bunch of events. You can subscribe to all those events, and you can take a look at this all these events at api.slack.com. So for example, if you go to api.slack.com, click on APIs. So there are a bunch of different APIs. So the current page, it is showing the list of APIs. For example, my favorite one is chat.postmessage. Um, you can go to an API. There is a documentation here. There is a tester where you can put a token and actually see what happens when you use this API. And if you are happy that this is the one you want to use, then you can go to code and copy paste the code. And this is mostly in Bolt, so but it's super easy. So if you are building an app, this is the place you want to be. So apart from the APIs, you can also take a look at the different types of events. So for example, there are a bunch of events: channel created, channel deleted, then the one of the event which we are interested in is called app home open. So someone goes to a home page of the app and click on the home tab. That's where the app home event is generated. Okay, you can click here and get the information about the event payload, etc. Right? So let's start configuring this event. So first we need to do is the first thing we need to do is to subscribe for this event. So you click on event subscriptions, and the first thing you want to do is enable this event. Let me just do that here. Okay. So my app is running. So again, I have to paste the requested URL. So where is my URL? And this one. So I say /events. Now here it's going to verify where I have given a proper link. So I think there is a space here. Okay, now so it's going to verify. So what it has done, it has actually reached. It tried to ping this endpoint. This endpoint running, and it verified that whether this endpoint actually exists. Okay, now once you give the callback URL, then you have to subscribe for the events. I'm going to subscribe for app home open event. Okay, let's click on save changes, and that's it. So no, there is one more thing we need to do. We want to click on app home tab here, and we have to enable the home tab. So for example, right now there's no home tab here, so we have to first enable it. Okay, so it's enabled. Now I'm going to refresh. So you can see the home tab is there, and again it's not doing anything because it's just sending the event, but we are not sending a response to that event, right? And that we can verify from here. So it sent an error. It was not able to access the event. Okay, so that's why it says this is still a work in progress. Now we have to write a code to respond to this event. I'm sorry. So let's again go back to my VS Code. How do you respond to an event? So for / command, it was app.command. For event, it was app.event. One second, what's my snippet? Yes, okay. So you have to type app.event, give the event name, and it has some different arguments, event, client, and payload. So event has some information about the event, payload has information about user, teams, etc. And the client is, it's already initialized. It is using a class called web client, and you can, using this web client, you can call some APIs, and I showed you an API called chat.postMessage right here on this page. So you can using this client object, you can call different types of APIs, web APIs. So this is, we are calling client.views.publish. So it is going to publish to your home page, and we need to provide something called view parameter. And for that, again, we are going to take help of blockade builder to construct our nice looking UI elements, right? So let's do that. So the first thing we want to go again is to go back to the blockade builder, and this time instead of message preview, we have to select app home preview. I'm going to clear blocks, and again, you can do whatever you want to do. You can add a radio button, you can add an image, you can add input buttons, etc. Right? And then again, you copy the payload and put this in your code. So I just clear these blocks. I'll see if I have the blocks for the app home. Yes, I do. So I'm going to copy this. Oops, what happened? Okay, so this is how it's going to look. Again, pardon my UI skills. Yeah, so it's going to show some emojis and some stuff here. Okay. There's a header block, and then there is a section, and then there is this called fields block, so where you can place things like in tabular format, right? So I've used these elements for this app. Okay, now once this is done, I can copy paste this payload, and put it in my code. Again, I'm going to do what I did in the slash command. So I already have a function which construct these blocks. So where is that function? So that function is called get app home view. All it does is again take some input. The input is cases summary, and then there are some blocks which are dynamically constructed based on the input. So by the way, what we are building here is we are going to show the overall worldwide summary of all the cases. So it will show new cases, confirmed cases, new deaths, etc. And for that, in client.js, I have written a function called get global summary. Okay, so we have this function with us, and then so first I have to get the summary, call the client.js, and to get a global summary. Then next we will call this function called get home view using the summary, and then we will just put view instead of view. We already have a view, so this is the home view. Place it with this, and I think we are good to go. So fingers crossed. Let's see if it works. Okay, now we go to the home tab again and see what happens. Cool, so it's working. Wow, I didn't expect. Nice. So yeah, that's a header block. These are new cases. The information is fetched dynamically, and this is what it is like. And I think yeah, we are done with implementing two features. Now, what are the next steps? So I've shown a very simple features. You can do a lot of fancy stuff using Slack APIs, events, and block kits. So if you want to understand more, so next steps are like you should explore these platform features. For example, shortcut and modals. I'll give you one example of a shortcut. So let's say you are in a channel, and you can just say click on this bolt icon and say create an event. So it opens up a modal, and then this is a Google Calendar app, so you can choose the date, duration, available times, and you can also add attendees. So you can build some similar experience with shortcuts and modals. Next thing, you can explore different kinds of interactivity features. For example, in our app, we could have added a button here which gives more information, or you could have added Dropbox, radio buttons, etc. To make this app more interactive. But in the interest of time, I've taken only two features. Is there a question?
So Atharva,
Yeah.
like I was getting a hold over the code and the understanding how it works. Very briefly, it's all about Slack API, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether you use app home or the slash command or shortcuts, Basically, you need to understand the Slack APIs.
Yes.
And if you know these APIs, if you know the documentation, you can build anything over the Slack then.
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to understand Slack APIs. You need to understand the permission model of Slack, and you need to understand some interactivity features like blocks and etc. So if you want to build interactive APIs.
Right. Okay. And the Slack API documentation is enough to know that, right? You don't have to go for any third party thing. Or you have any extra help available for us to get a quick start or jump start over the Slack API.
So there are a bunch of examples created. If you go to, for example, if you go to slack.dev /bolt. So you'll get all information about how to get started, and this is a very nice. You should try this. So it gives you all the steps to create an app, and whatever I've shown right now, responding to events, sending messages, etc. And so this bold documentation is good enough if you want to get started.
Okay. So I have a small use case. If possible, we can discuss that now. Maybe the audience will also get to know about from our discussion. A small use case.
Sure. Sorry. Can you enable audio for everyone so that if they have questions they can.
Okay. I can.
Yeah.
So, give me a second. I'll be back.
Yeah, sure.
I think now.
So everyone, okay. Atharva, can you stop sharing the screen? I think?
Sure.
Okay, now everyone can unmute yourself, or you can also enable your audio, and feel free to ask any questions, any doubts that you have.
So the till time people get used to it, I will continue with my question.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the question is, can we have automated reactions to the messages, or maybe let's say I message something in a Slack channel somewhere, maybe a decided channel. I want to reply it automatically.
A reply with a message.
With the message, a bot message, of course. If I say hi,
okay.
A bot should should reply to it saying hi or hello, how are you? Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. So if you look at this example in Bolt JS documentation, right? So that's the example it has covered. For example, so instead of app.command or app.event, you have to say app.message and type a message, and you can respond based on this text. If that channel has, if someone types hello, it will respond with this. So you can also have a wildcard saying that hello star or something like that.
Oh. And a sub question to that is, can I respond to bot message? If any bot has messaged something, let's say Google Calendar is replying me saying there is no event today, another bot should reply to that message.
Unfortunately, that is not possible yet.
Oh.
So, like, one app is listening the events of another app, that is not supported.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Anyone else has a question? We can take those as well.
Any questions, feedback, suggestions?
Yeah, questions related to Slack, using Slack, not necessarily building apps. It can be anything.
Hello, Atharva. Anand. Actually, I don't think you might remember me, but we were together in VIT.
Of course, I remember you.
I remember your acting skills very well, especially the one where you played a schizophrenic person.
Wow, that was 2006. Yeah,
way back,
yeah.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
feeling
So
old now.
yeah. So what I was asking is, Slack doesn't have this read receipt. So for ourselves,
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
read Slack doesn't have the delivery or read receipt kind of option. So we
Yeah.
don't come to know if it's not kind of actually in some sense real time, or it doesn't want to be. I think so. So
Mhm.
can we build it on our own? Like if someone has actually read our message or not?
Ah, that's a good question. I don't think so. For now, we don't have an API. I'll go and check.
I think it has been like that. I think it has been kept intentionally
Yes,
like.
yes.
It is.
So if you look at another feature, Anand, sorry, we lost you.
Hmm.
Hello.
Anand, so there is some issue at your
Hello.
end with your mic. Can you check that?
I think I got audio here.
We can see you, but we cannot hear you. I think we lost him. He just freeze.
Okay. Let's move
Okay,
to the
Anand,
next question.
you can put your question into the chat also if you want.
Yeah.
I guess yeah.
Although that was an interesting question, right? Receipts, and I believe that was intentional because it's not meant for usual IMs, instant
Right,
messaging.
right. I mean, is
Yeah.
there a way we can build it on our own? I mean, that's what I want to know.
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think there is a mechanism where you can there is an API where you can say, hey, this message is already read by the
Hmm.
recipient. I'm not sure about it.
Okay,
I'll try to figure out if
okay,
there's.
fine,
I don't think so.
sure.
And that is intentional because see there are few principles which we have followed. For example, if a user leaves the channel, we don't set a notification
Right,
that hey, user has left the channel,
right.
because of course Slack can have multiple channels and people should be feel free. People should feel free to join or leave any channel. Um, so I mean there are few design principles which we
I
have
think
followed.
it's all with enterprise in the mind, kind of thing. If I'm
Right,
not wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. And my observation is Slack always downloads the messages from the server. It doesn't deliver the message as a client like WhatsApp or any other instant messenger does. So every time you log into Slack on any platform, it will give you entire history back to you. So
Mm.
knowing whether the message will read or not, that's possible. That's not in a code design actually. Is what I.
Yeah, but that's a good question, Anand. I will follow up with my team here. Okay,
Sure,
next
sure,
question.
sure.
Nice question. Thank you, Vikas. What is the Slack premium employee count? What? Okay, so I think we are about 65 people right now. Before the pandemic, we were 23, 24. We have grown really fast during the pandemic. And of course, there are still some openings. You can go to Slack career page if you're interested, uh, or send me your resume. What kind of modules in Slack are being developed in Pune office? Oh, wow. So Pune office, it's really doing some exciting stuff. I showed you App Home. This feature was introduced last year. And that was built by Pune team mostly. We are we recently we are involved in a lot of Slack features and core features of Slack. We are also involved in building Slack platform features. I'm part of a team which build different strategic integrations like Salesforce. So yeah, there's a variety of work. There is a BizTech team, data science team. There are different teams, and a lot of interesting work is going on here. And yeah, as Prasad mentioned in the chat, um, we have something called Slack Community Workspace. Do join it. It has developers from all over the world. If you have questions related to Slack API, Slack apps, Slack in general, there are a lot of people to help. People showcase their work. If you have built a nice Slack app, you can showcase your app. You can hang out in some fun channels. For example, we have a channel called Social Yelling,
Yeah.
where you need to type only in caps. So it's like as if you're yelling.
Yeah.
So there are some really fun activities going on there. So I recommend all of you to join this.
Yeah, so everyone just feel free to join the Slack community. We have sent the link in the chat if you have not seen. So by joining the Slack community, I would say you will not only get connected with the Pune community members, but you will also get connected with the global community of Slack, which includes Slack app developers to users to product managers. So basically, the complete team of Slack. You can directly ask your doubts to the Slack team and get your answers from the community members. And we are coming up with some amazing events and some amazing initiatives. So just stay tuned with us. And thanks a lot, Athava, for such an informative session. I'm sure today's session has helped all of us to understand the complete process of making a Slack app. I can't wait to see what our Slack community members are going to build after today's session. And after the event, there will be a post event survey sent to you through an email. So just let us know what do you think about today's event. Uh, and yeah, so over to you, Amit.
Yeah, I have same thoughts. It was pretty exciting to see how the code works. I myself learned a lot of things. Like app home is something that I personally was struggling with, and thanks Atharva to clear the dust. Thanks to letting us know how we can set up it up, how we can use the UI elements, and that's an amazing feature. Thanks for showing that as well. And yep, the Slack community is always vibrant, always there to help all of us, including our members. So I also request everyone to join the workspace as quickly as you can, because there are exciting features coming up to us. We recently got to know two more features that Slack is coming up with, and I'm personally excited to have those in my Slack workspace. So such kind of a news will also be coming to you if you are in a Slack workspace. Atharva, thanks a lot. Once the pandemic is away, I would definitely like to catch up with you and the team again. Thank you.
Sure, I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you. Stay home and stay safe, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Atharva and Amit and everyone.
Thanks, and thank you for joining.